So we are back, curious fuckers, and today we are talking about casual dating, hookups during a pandemic. So one of us has been really fucking around.
Oh, one of us has also been fucking around as well. So, fuck you,
during a
Florence.
pandemic.
You can't pin the blame on me. You started this. I'm gonna end it.
You started it, I'm gonna end it.
So, Florence and I have been responsibly hooking up during the pandemic. And we just wanted to give you our tips and advice on how to do it in the best way possible, because it's hard to not do it during a pandemic. I think I tried and failed. You know, it's really hard. You need that intimacy and that connection, especially if you're single, especially if sex is where you get your, you know, your energy and your fucking power from.
Exactly. Like, we both have a really high libido. So actually taking sex out of the equation for months on end is almost impossible. Like, I know people are gonna be like, hey, like, actually I've been celibate for like so much longer and it was fine, but it's not fine.
Yeah. And it's also not one rule fits all. Like, some people can go without sex for a long time and some people can't. And what this pandemic has taught us is that people are judgmental because they think that they know the right way, and it's judgmental on people like meeting up with their friends or going out and going to a party or going to the pub or restaurants. And it's exactly the same for hooking up, because you are meeting a stranger, you don't know where they're from, but the best thing that we can do is try and advise you on some tips and advice just to make this as responsible as possible.
I think like the first thing should be is that when you are dating, I think talk about the pandemic and see what page you are both on, so that you can both responsibly make the decision to cross that boundary together.
Yeah, or even just bring it up in casual conversation and see their stance on it, because there are some people out there that do not believe that COVID is real, and you kind of want to find that out first before you go meet up with somebody.
Because if you are being responsible yourself, you want to meet up with other people that are being responsible.
Yeah, like
and
the
not just
same
like
level.
going to house parties and, you know.
Yeah, and just fucking around. And also having it, if you have a dating profile, putting it on your dating profile to let other people know that it's important to you. And I actually really appreciate it when I see that on dating profiles. The thing I don't appreciate is when one of the pictures they're wearing a face mask and I'm like, I want to see your face. I appreciate the face mask, but just write in your profile. I think I've got on one on my field profile something like responsibly dating during COVID times or something like that. Just a little line.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Or like meeting up responsibly with a little heart, something like that.
I mean, obviously there is always going to be a risk there. So we are not saying that this is a 100% safe thing to do. There is a risk. The more people that you come into contact with, the more likely it is that you will contract COVID. That is just how it works at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. And I know it's like more common to contract COVID from your friends and family, but it's still super important when you are meeting up with strangers. So if something does get passed, then you have that opportunity to be able to like talk to them and speak to them and get in contact, because you don't know where they've been.
I think also, like, I mean, this is what I did during like the big first wave and like the lockdown, is that I got into kind of like a monogamous situation where we were sort of responsibly only seeing that one person. So if you want to go that step further, then you could find that like one fuck buddy or, you know, that sort of situationship for the pandemic. But I'm just gonna say, be aware and wary if you are just wanting to do casual dating, because once you get into a situation like that's a little bit monogamous, feelings do happen.
Yeah, especially when it's lockdown and you're like, it's almost like that's your lifeline, that's your connection lifeline, and that can get complicated. We also forget that we don't have to meet up with them, you know, a lot of us have like stages of how to connect with somebody and then get to that stage where you finally meet up. So we've got like video dates and voice notes and phone calls that we can use to actually scope the person out even further. So instead of taking that extra risk and just meeting up with with them randomly, then
Yeah.
finding out a little bit more about them and see if you click. The amount of times I've done like a voice note with somebody and gone, oh no, like that doesn't really work for me. Their tone of voice doesn't work, or it's kind of helped you figure out if you're into them or not.
Yeah,
then...
I'm really into the whole like video date idea.
Yes,
I
it's
mean,
so good.
that was, yeah, it was so good. And like video sex is a thing as well, so you don't even need to actually jump into bed with someone straight away either.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing at the beginning of lockdown was I was actually video dating Quarantine Bae for like maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and we had like video sex, we chatted on the phone every day, and then when we actually met up we went on like a social distance walk, but it just so happened that the sexual chemistry was too intense. Not kiss.
It's brutal. Too much.
Too much.
And it is actually really hard to do a video date. Like, it's quite nerve-wracking. I would say
Yes.
it's less nerve-wracking than going on a date, because it's also something that we're not really used to yet, and we're still trying to figure it out. And you think like, oh, you know, like, what am I going to look like and how's this going to go? But it's honestly safer and better doing that before you actually meet up with somebody. And virtual sex is so good, and it's so fun, and it does fill a massive gap in the intimacy. Yes, of course you want that person there if you get that far, but it doesn't, it's not make or break, you know, like that is just it's a new form of sex. Virtual sex is it's some good shit.
Yeah,
we've both had some really fun virtual sex experiences.
Oh yeah, more than ever during these times.
More than ever. Normally I'd just go fucking meet them because this is bullshit, but virtual sex, I'm falling in love with the idea.
Yeah,
Especially
and it's a
if it
great
works.
tool for pre-dating as well. Like,
Yes, yeah, it's like the preliminary stage.
Exactly, so you don't meet those dickheads that you just don't get along with. Also, what I found, if someone's not interested in going on a video date with you, are they really even that interested?
Absolutely, I completely agree, Florence. If they can't be bothered to do a video date, or they're not into it, then they're not willing to really go the extra mile. You know, like
Exactly.
that. You want somebody who's like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's cool. And you know what? Sometimes people don't want to do a video date. That's fine. Then you just gotta like, and move on to the next.
So as you know, during these times, we have to take responsibility not just for ourselves, but also the people that we live with, because COVID does pass, and if you are living with other people, then it's quite likely that they will get it if you get it.
Yeah, especially if you're living with somebody who's immune compromised or high risk. I mean, I'm lucky I live with my sister, so I just check. And at the very beginning, especially with lockdown, she wasn't okay with people coming back here. And it's only now, we're in October, now that she's semi-okay with me bringing one person back. It's actually, and my friends, but when it's just like a fuck, it is a different scenario. So yeah, you just have to make sure that they're cool with it.
Just have the conversation. That it's just as easy as that. Just be like, hey, I'm dating, or hey, I'm thinking of like bringing this guy back. How do you feel about it?
And definitely, if you actually build up the courage to meet that person, or you want to meet for a drink or food or a date, then do try, if you can, meet up in a pub garden or out in a park, obviously weather permitting, because this is England and it's absolute dog shit out there.
Obviously, meeting in outdoor spaces is a lot safer, so if you are concerned, then that is definitely the best way to do it. However, in a lot of countries, people are taking really good precautions when it comes to hospitality, and when you do go out for a drink in a bar, all of the waiters are wearing masks and everything is being cleaned like extra safe, and they don't even use menus. You can like get the menu on your phone these days, so it is generally quite safe going out for a drink, because places are putting in safety measures. Obviously there is a higher risk there, but go to somewhere that feels safe and that you feel is doing all the right safety precautions.
Or if you're just gonna pop round to their house for a little cheeky booty call, that's cool as fine. You know, that's cool as fine. That's
Cool as fun.
That's cool as fine.
During these times, it is really important to do what you feel is best for you and your situation. I am a firm believer in believing in your gut.
Yes. I mean, I do like to ask my support network and my friends what their thoughts are on going on for a date, or like traveling to another country for a date, seeing what they say there. Because as much as I want to hear everyone's side of things and try and make my own decision, but from their decisions. And obviously, you know, government restrictions are important and to be adhered by. And I don't think anyone should be trying to bend the rules there. It is all about, like, you have to kind of do what you gotta do, and figure it out. And if a mistake happens, but at least you've done your actual utmost to prevent that mistake.
Yeah, we're kind of at a point where COVID is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we do have to start living our lives. Like, we can't live in isolation forever. It is not good for our mental health.
And living in fear.
There is a point.
Living
Exactly.
in fear. Like, I was terrified to even use public transport, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
you're right. COVID isn't going to go anywhere. So it's trying to figure out how best to live your life alongside it. And if you still, you know, if you want to date, if you still want to sleep with people, then it's just trying to find a way to do that. That's like the best possible way, without feeling guilty or without feeling rubbish. Or, I mean, sometimes you just got to get your kicks, man.
I know, I want dick so bad right now.
So badly.
Once you start as well, it's really hard to like stop.
Yeah, and lockdown could be coming in the UK again for us. It might not be, but it also might be. So it's just trying to, be smart about it.
And probably the most important thing to mention is that if you have any symptoms, don't meet up with people in person.
I think that's like the biggest thing. I think a lot of, and also do remember around this time it's like cold and flu season as well, which can be really scary and confusing. Like I was sick this week, and Florence, you were sick the week before.
Yeah.
And the first thing you think of is, oh my god, I've got COVID, because it's like fucking programmed into us now to think like that, which is scary, but it's also safe. So anyone that I was in contact with, I did say, hey, I don't feel particularly well, just keep an eye out, and if you do have symptoms, make sure you go and get tested, and self-isolate. Don't go to that party that's happening at the weekend if you are coughing, and if you do have a high temperature. You probably won't want to in all respect, but people do have different symptoms, and it varies from person to person. Just warn others, and especially if you test positive, contact everybody.
Basically, just try and be as safe and as responsible as you possibly can.
That's
and
all we
that
can
is
ask
the
for.
point. Yeah, that's the point of this video. We're not saying go out and fuck like you normally do. We're saying if you are going to be hooking up with people, please do it responsibly.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, especially for just the protection of others and yourself, and so you can keep going out and having fun. Do it responsibly. Otherwise, if you get COVID, then that's probably going to be like, I don't want to see anyone ever. But we hope this has been at least a little bit helpful, and that your COVID situation is okay, that your mental health is doing all right, and you're hanging in there. That's all we can really say, and living the best life you possibly can right now.
So if you like this video, or if you have any of your tips of your own, please comment them down below. How have you been getting around dating during COVID times? What are your biggest tips, and what have your experiences been? And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you have not already.
Please do. Yeah, follow us on Instagram, which is Come Curious, as well as our personal accounts, Reed Amber X and Florence Bark. And we have a Patreon now, which you can go and check out, which has loads of extra goodies for our podcast Fucks Given, and it's called the Curious Fuckers Club.
Yeah, definitely go and check that out.
Yeah,
and sign
really
up to the
exciting.
powerful tier, because that's the one where you get the exclusive podcast episodes every week where me and Reed talk about our personal sex lives.
Yeah, baby. So good, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.